This is your man Big Stu, Scott Stewart, or Professor Stewart, depending on how you know me. And we are back for another edition of Dope People. I am not letting you down today. I'm bringing the heat with a good one. A good one, my good friend, my big brother, Big Cuzzo, Mr. Reggie Lomax, Reginald Lomax in the building, y'all.
All right. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, man, thanks for being patient with me and adjusting the schedules and making time, man. I appreciate you, man.
Man, no apologies needed, man. You're a good man.
Appreciate that. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to run through your professional side just briefly. It's a lot happening here, but I'm going to run through that, and then we're going to go ahead and just have some fun with this conversation. So,
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right. Mr. Reginald Lomax is an entrepreneur and educator, high achieving, the president of Your CFO Consulting, and he is a professor of business at City Colleges of Chicago. Mr. Reginald Lomax is a high performance professional and educator with more than a couple of decades, 20 years of business management experience. He's a visionary and a strategist with a documented record of success, a solid background in finance, education, and entrepreneurship. And Mr. Reginald Lomax has the ability to create comprehensive strategic management plans. Brother Lomax is currently doing some work over at East West University. He has done some work at Prairie State and Chicago State, and also continues to be the managing principal, again, as I've said earlier, of Your CFO Consultation. Reggie Lomax in the building.
Thanks, brother Stewart. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. We wouldn't have it any other way, man. So look, that tells the people a brief overview of who you are professionally. And that's all good. That's cute, right? But we have our own thing on here, man. We like to have fun, and we're going to have some in-depth conversations because everybody here that comes on to this show, man, they deserve to be here. So we do something on here, man. We call it This or That. Are you familiar with this or that, brother?
This or that. Yep. This or that. Yes.
This or that. All right. So since you're familiar, we talked about it in pregame a little bit. I'm going to jump into it. We're going to do a little round, man. Just have some fun with it. Are you ready?
Let's do it, brother. Let's do it.
All right. Newspaper or online news?
Online news.
All right.
Online news, definitely.
Travel by plane or travel by boat?
Plane, definitely. Got to get there.
Reading or writing?
Need to work on that writing, but the reading is my primary right now.
Okay. All right.
Writing is coming though. It's coming.
Reading is what you went with.
Yes, sir.
Pancakes or waffles?
Neither. Pancakes, brother.
And neither. Love or money?
Ooh, love.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
80s music. I got to do you different. Let me do you different.
Go ahead.
70s music or 80s music?
70s music for sure, brother. 70s music.
Okay.
Yeah, I chose love that last question, right?
Right. 70s, a lot of R&B, a lot of things happening right there in the 70s.
Right.
Burgers or tacos?
Burgers, definitely, brother.
Burgers. All right. Piercings or tattoos?
Piercings.
All right.
Piercings.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet, definitely. Yes.
Talk or listen?
Listen.
Teachers or parents?
Teachers.
That's interesting. We'll come back to that one.
Yeah, but let's come back to that. Let's wrap back around that.
In-person learning or e-learning?
In person.
You here for the in-person.
In person, yes.
Okay. HBCU or PWI?
HBCU.
All right. Here's the last one. Are you ready for this one?
Ready.
Employee or entrepreneur?
Entrepreneur.
Wow. Great job. Let's circle back. Teachers or parents? Teachers or parents? You said teachers. Talk about that. What do you mean?
Well, I think in the educational realm, we forget the impact that a quality educator can have on a person's life, right? It can have a quality impact outside of the home. Obviously, parents are much needed. Parents have a space, but sometimes we get our biggest form of education from someone outside of our family structure, right? You have to parents, and parents, they have their place in the world. They're also disciplinarians as well, but educators or teachers, they can make a lasting impact on a student's outlook, right? It could be negative or positive, right? It could be negative or positive. So traditionally, if we have those positive relationships, with your, everyone remembers their favorite teacher, everyone remembers their favorite coach, right? So these are the impacts. They may have said something or done something, probably not too much different than what the parent is telling them, but they just said it in a different way. They said it in a different way that had a more meaningful impact, meaningful position within a person's thinking, right? That kind of could change their overall look on life, right? We always remember our favorite teacher.
That is true. We do remember our favorite teacher. So look, man, what kind of student were you? Middle school, high school? Tell us about that. What kind of student were you, man?
A good question. And the thing is that I think I wasn't very motivated, right? I wasn't engaged in the educational process. I come from a family of educators. My mother was a 30-year educator. My mother was the first in her family to graduate college, right? So you would have thought that education would be paramount in my particular life. However, I think it was the form of education, not that I didn't receive good education. I wasn't motivated to be educated or go above and beyond what I was learning, right? So I was an average student, at best, right? But not because I don't think I didn't have what it took. I just wasn't motivated to want to or have to or feel the need to excel and excel in academia.
Now, you're born and raised in Chicago?
Born and raised, south side of Chicago, brother.
Born and raised.
79th Street.
79th Street.
79th Street.
79.
Yes, sir. On the nine. Yes, sir.
On the
Yes,
9.
sir. Yes, sir.
You went to Roseland Christian. Did you? Did you go? You went to Roseland Christian.
Roseland Christian, 8 years.
8 years. Wow.
8 years. 8 years. 8 years.
And then where'd you go to high school?
Chicago Christian.
Really? I don't
Yeah,
think I
yeah.
knew that.
Transitioned to Chicago Christian. Sure did.
Wow. And then from there, so what was that experience for you? I know Chicago Christian, South Suburban high school.
Right.
A lot of Presbyterians.
Yeah.
Small amount of black folks, black kids.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about that. How was that experience for you? How did that shape you as a man?
You know what? That's a good question that you asked that, right? So a couple of different things happen, right? You go to a place like Chicago Christian, Palos Heights, Illinois, right? It's a different environment. It was a different environment than 79th Street. It was a different environment than 79th and Racine, right? It was just totally different. It's like night and day, right? So again, at the end of the day, uh, it gave me exposure to things that I wouldn't have seen, being in the neighborhood, right? However, it took commitment. It wasn't easy. I learned a lot about people, right? It opened the doors for me to be comfortable in settings that I'm the only person there. I'm the only Black person there. It put me in a mindset of being able to uh, a go-getter, right? I learned to, never give up, to go get what I want, to go get what I need, right? I've never been scared of talking to people, never been at any type shy, right? To go, but it made me adjust to certain environments, right? So it gave me that flexibility. I wasn't pigeonholed when I went to a job interview. I wasn't pigeonholed when I went outside of my environment, right? I was comfortable anywhere I was. So again, it was that. So that was decent, with the students that we went from Roseland with. We formed a pretty tight bond that lasted all of our lives, right? But like I said, again, but however, I may have missed out on those long-term relationships that you have by going to a local community school, right? So I was out of touch with my own environment because I spent most of my time going to school, coming from school, and then that's when you meet and meet people and have relationships that last years and years and years, right? So, I know people here locally that go to some of the Simeons and Lindblooms and they get together every summer, right?
Right.
The annual picnics, right? So I lost out on that. But however, again, I mean, the experience, it taught me a lot about the relationship between races, right? It taught me a lot about that, you know what I'm saying? And as I matured, I kind of really got a better foothold or understanding of that entire dynamics. And I think it shaped me for the better. It shaped me for, again, I think I'm a better person. That experience kind of, pushed me to always achieve for more. Not, I never been one that was satisfied with the level of where I am. I always wanted to get to the next level, right? So again, if I was to work for a company, I just didn't want to be an employee. I may want to be a manager, what's the next level? I'm always pushing towards that next level. So it gave me that push because I was always trying to achieve what's next, right? What's next, a higher level of expertise. So yeah, yeah. So I hope I
And
answered that question. Yeah, go ahead.
no, 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 no. Do you think you would have had the same drive had you gone to a school in your neighborhood, a predominantly Black Chicago public school? Or was that drive and ambition kind of developed because you were at a predominantly white high school and there you had a sense of responsibility to not be pigeonholed and to show up in a way so you're not categorized as statistically, you were already dealing with some of the racist comments. I didn't go there. I went to Roseland Christian. I was after you, but I
Right.
heard some stories about
Yeah.
what was happening. So where did that, do you think that if you went to a local school you'd have had that same drive, or how did that come about?
I would like to think I would. I would like to think that I would because I think it was instilled, through my family structure to have that drive to always want more. Because, I mean, looking back, hindsight, I wouldn't want to think that I would not have given our people or our environment the same effort I would have given some other environment, right? So I don't want to discount or downplay, but I think we do that enough, right? So I think inherently that I would have still been pushing, but it may have been in a different form. It may have came in a different formula. It may have came in a different, paradigm. But however, I think it still would have been there because I always wanted to be a leader. I always wanted to be someone who led. If I was on the football team, I mean, I wanted to be the best on the football team. If I was on a basketball team, I wanted to, put myself in a position to be captain, right? So now I transitioned to college. It's the same way. I want to be, I want to have a position, right? And then,
Yeah.
again, it goes off into your professional career the
Kind of
same
just
way.
kind of who you are.
Yeah, yeah,
Just kind of
yeah.
who you are.
I like to think it wouldn't be any different, right? I like to think it wouldn't have been any different. Yeah.
Did you always know you wanted to get into education? Did you go to school for education? How did that happen?
No, no, no. I kind of tripped into education, man. I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to have a business. I worked 21 years for the same corporation, right? I worked myself into a leadership position with a corporation. But when I went back and I got my MBA, all right. So when I went back and got my MBA, one of the instructors asked me to be a subject matter expert in a management class. I said, sure. She said, I said, what you need me to do? She said, come in and give about a 1 hour lecture on, this particular human management process. I said, cool, I could do that. And I stepped in front of that classroom, man, and I was hooked, man. I was like, I stepped in front of that classroom and I had, presentation together. I had my notes together and I'm delivering, and again, when I got through, people was asking questions. They was engaged. It felt like being on the basketball court almost, man. You know
Wow.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. I know that. I know that feeling when you deliver high quality content and it's engaging and those people are asking those questions and you could see their wheel spinners. I know the feeling of that.
Yeah, yeah,
So you
yeah,
kind of got hooked on that. Um, man. And so you kind of just fell into the teaching role, the teaching.
Mhm.
So, and you teach at higher ed. You never taught elementary school or high school or anything, right?
No, no, never,
All right.
never, 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 never.
Yeah. So look, based on what you see, and you work city college, so junior college in the city of Chicago, right?
Yes.
What's working for you from your POV, as you see on social media, from your point of view? What's working for you as far as you're concerned in education today?
Just being able to deliver content in a way that's understandable, understanding, someone can understand, somebody can relate it to different aspects of where they are in life, right? So again, what's working, again, the ability to be able to help people reach goals, identify those goals, reach them, attain them, right? Again, show them ways to get there, show them ways that they can be successful, right? In whatever they do. And this question is good that you asked that because I teach entrepreneurship at City College. And one of the things, and I actually spoke on this at the National Council of Black Studies a few years ago, that we should mandate that students coming out of City College uh, take an entrepreneur class and create a business plan before they leave. So not only do they have a diploma in their hand,
Yeah.
they have a business plan in their hand. And because obviously we know, the college graduation rate is at a certain point, but the matriculation into a career position is relatively low for us, right? And sometimes, it may be easier for us to start our own business and create our own wealth versus trying to get in with a major Fortune 500 company, right? Trying to get on with a career position, because those we just don't have those things anymore. And so again, to be able to create our own legacy is important for me. So again, I know I kind of went around the corner with that, but while I was there, I just want to touch on that again. Those are some of the things about education that especially at City College, because I love City College because I am directly impacting people from my zip code that I grew up in, right? The
Yeah.
zip codes that I live in, right? The people that see me at City College, they may see me in the local, grocery store.
Yeah.
They may see me in the local Starbucks. They may see me in the local restaurant, right? So I know I'm impacting people from my community, and that's important to me, right? So
Yeah.
again, we know what we got going on, but however, to impact people from my community, from where I used to live to where I currently live, right? People shocked. They like, what do you think what do you think I live on, some island somewhere? No,
Yeah,
man.
no, no.
That's
I
great.
remember telling the kids think that we live in these buildings, man. They think because when they get there, you're there,
Right,
and when they leave, you're there.
right,
And so
right,
I
right, right, right.
remember having similar experience. I see kids out, a kid that don't never talk to me in the classroom, and I see him out at the grocery store and he flipping, losing his mind. Oh my God, Mr.
Right.
Store! Like I didn't even know you knew my name, son. Like
Right, right,
but
right.
they think we live in these buildings. They think, and that's so interesting that you say that, Reggie, because that was my take on teachers, especially elementary school, Roseland. I thought teachers was lame. They ain't had no life. They just teach. I never really saw them out.
Right, right,
I don't
right.
ever remember seeing a teacher out. But there, my first grade teacher, rest in peace, Miss Hines, if I ain't mistaken, that's her name. Miss Hines took us across the street for a field trip. This is when you could do that, right? She
Right,
took
right,
us
right.
across the street to her house.
Oh wow. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
to her house was the field trip. It was across the
Wow.
street, and it was beautiful, man. It was a beautiful frame,
Right.
bungalow frame in Chicago. She had a fit, and so that was the most exposure that I had of seeing a teacher outside of the classroom.
Right.
So I get that, and I think it is good that your students get to see you serving their community. And I would imagine from your perspective, there's a lot of responsibility associated with that, especially as a black man. Can you talk about that at all? The feeling of responsibility that you have being a teacher in a community environment on the south side of Chicago, south and west sides of Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, man. Yeah, we have to be responsible. As black men, we need to be more responsible. As black men, we need to be more responsible, and actually, we need to be intentional in how we handle ourselves in public. We should be intentional on how not saying we can't let our hair down. Of course, let your hair down. We got to be intentional of how you treat other people, how people see you, how how you outside, right? So again, I'm intentionally, always making sure that I'm, again, dressed properly, engaging properly, being a citizen, being a good citizen, right? Being a protector and a provider for our community, right? We forget about that. We are the protectors and the providers of our community, right? We are the investors in our community. So again, we have to make sure that we are being a role model. I think for so long, the working man or the person with the career job, they're the most underappreciated, especially the black man. They're the most unappreciated person in the community, in the black community, right? Again, because again, they're not held to a certain level of expert, and they're not given the respect that they deserve, right? One of the students, I used to wear suits all the time when I first got into the game. I was always, but I was suited up for my professional job, so I would wear suits into the classroom. And one of the students said, "Wait, are you a preacher? Because only preachers wear suits all every day."
I've seen
I'm
that,
like,
been
oh
there.
my
Yep,
God.
yep, yep.
Yeah, I'm saying, oh my God. But however, when we in the community, we still have to have a level of standard. Are we taking care of our space, right? Is my space desirable for what I want to be? Do they see my home with the grass cut, with the garbage picked up? Am I dumping my garbage? Am I helping other neighbors in the street? Am I speaking and being engaging to my community members? So I think we have that responsibility that we have to make sure, that we hold on to. We make sure we live that life, right? I don't just live it, I believe in it.
Yeah, no, and I think you're 100% right. Um, yeah. So, what challenges you about education? Like, what has you? What frustrates you, or gets under your skin, or keeps you even up at night?
Well, the frustrating part or the challenging part may be just overall, are students getting it? Are they being engaged, right? I try to, let's get engaged in the process. You don't want to let this process go too far away and you don't find what you need in it. This is the place for you to find yourself, find what you want to do, right? Establish yourself, start setting those foundational pieces up, start setting those habits up, what you think, those things that you do all the time, right? Being on time is a good habit to have, right? Being engaged is a good habit to have. Being able to have your mind expanded, but exercising your attention span, right? That's a good skill to have, and that's what frustrates me about students when they're not engaged and they don't want to show, and they haphazard, they're late. Again, those are the things you have to develop these habits. A lot of times I tell students, if my classroom was a job, you may be fired right now because you ain't coming to school on time. You know what I'm saying? You ain't doing this. You're not meeting your deadlines. You're not doing what you have to do. So again, understanding that some of those things are challenging. However, again, just to make sure that students are, I take it personally to make sure that it's my responsibility to make sure that I give them some of those life lessons that they will need to walk away with and hopefully improve themselves or improve their position or outlook on life.
Yeah, man, I get that. As far as you're concerned, maybe you have a vision about what would make the classroom environment like super dope. Like it would be dope if. It would be amazing if. What is that? Finish that statement for me.
Man, if I bought in Scott Stewart,
Oh, come on now. That's a
bought
done
in
deal. That's easy peasy. We got
Professor
that.
Stu, if I bought in Professor Stu, then it'd be, man, like they'd be like, man, he's dope. But man, just to be able to, create content, man, that's uplifting, that's engaging, right? I mean, just to make that classroom beat, right? So again, I've gotten to the point where I'm challenging students to excel, push for excellence, right? So that dope is there, and I would like to see them, so I try to do more things where they are just working together, right? So understand they got to work together, and that this is the place to make connections and make them, again, get up and talk and be able to express themselves, right? I mean, we're comfortable amongst each other, but amongst each other is not where we live our life. We live our lives. We may be the only person in the room, the only man, the only Black person, the only person from the South Side, the only person from Chicago. So whatever that comes from, you have to be able to exercise yourself. You have to be able to get through it and get by it. And so again, we're talking about being dope. Just bringing some of those highlights, bringing in some awesome people, awesome experiences that can tell some awesome. But I want people to talk about the real life experiences and how they overcame in spite of, right? How they overcome in spite of. We all have been through stuff, but we've overcame in spite of. And I think those are the lessons that students need to hear, right? We can all talk about the bad things, but what about how do we overcome those bad things?
Yeah, that's huge, brother. That's huge. Um, Technology in today's time and as an educator. Real quick, are you fighting with students about their phones or their devices? How is that? How are you embracing, utilizing technology or not in your learning environments?
Good question. I make them use it. You own it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you own it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use it. Let's put it to work.
So look up research on the spot.
On the spot. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell me what to think. You got your phone in your hand. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Google is not the only ticket in town, right? What else is there, right? What else is there? What other apps do you have that can help you exercise what you need to do, right? You know what I'm saying? Well, what do you have the Wall Street Journal on there? Are you looking at current events? You know what I'm saying? Are you looking at international business? Are you looking at what are these other things that you can look up? Do you have Score on your phone where you can get management expertise at the drop of $1, right? Do you have the dictionary? Again, do you have these things? So utilize all of these things, right? Do you have, Grammarly on your phone, right? So you're sending, good, good emails, and, correct, using the correct verbiage and understanding how to use that technology to your advantage. So yeah, you have to use it because they're going to be on. Because if I left home today without my phone, I would go back home and get it. Most of us, right? I've done it before. I left home. I was, oh man, you got my phone, and
Yeah.
yeah, if I turn around, go all the way back home, go get the phone, and ain't nobody calling me like that. You know what I'm saying? But
But
however,
it's not even about the calls. It's about the utilization,
about the utilization,
access.
access,
Yeah,
having it,
uh
having
huh.
it.
I used to have to take the 8A or the 108 to go to Carter G. Woodson if I needed to look something up.
Right, right, right,
You
right,
know,
right, right, right,
it was
right,
a
right,
big
right.
deal to go find some information, man.
Yeah, yeah. Now information. Then now, we got information at our fingertips, man. You know?
Yeah. Hey, you're not just a classroom professor. You're not just a professor.
No.
You are a practitioner. You are a business owner. You are about this life. Tell us about your CFO.
Well, yeah. So again, the CFO is really a consulting practice that caters to small business, medium-sized businesses, right? To focus on helping them with their decision-making skills when they are, having financial decisions to make. Some of those situations where every small business can have their own CFO. They can't have their own, this and that. Obviously, most small businesses are solopreneurs, right? They end it by themselves, right? So again, they may need someone to bounce some ideas off of. They may need someone to help them structure, how to position themselves to go get a loan at a bank, or they may need a connection to help them with a financial decision, or someone just to bounce those ideas off of, right? So I try to be that listening board to help get to that next decision, right? So those levels, as companies reach those levels of expertise, right? So again, you go from being a thousandaire to 100,000 to a millionaire, right? What does it take? What is the next step? What does that vision look like for you? So I try to help them paint that vision, and then we'll roadmap something to help you get there, right? So again, we try to structure. We have, I have expertise that we work with, and we try to structure that in a way that they are successful. But also, on the flip side of that, it's all about legacy building too. For business owners, we forget about the legacy piece, right? We forget about those that our life, may outlive our business, and how do we get there, right? It breaks my heart to see how so many businesses that we've had previously or historically, and the business owners, this is how it's really it derived from this, and those business owners are no longer in business, and they're no longer making money. They don't have the succession of money. So what did they do when they was getting that money? So again, now I've created platforms through my investing, because I have a securities license as well. I have an insurance license as well. So setting up avenues where they can start, setting avenues, things in place to have a lifetime. So, obviously most business owners think their business is going to outlive them. Unfortunately, we found that that's not always the case in some of the communities, especially in the communities that we've come from, right? So again, what can we set up for you that your success will flourish, and you will be able to be successful for longevity in the long run, right? What happens if you get hurt? What happens if you get ill? What happens if, and we want to make sure you're protected, because typically that's when businesses falter, when something happens and they don't have the right things in place in order to protect themselves.
And that's heavy, and many of us need that. When it comes to business owners in our community, young people that want to start businesses, how important is it to you that they understand, financial engineering, as I would like to call it today, financial literacy, like not only how important, I mean, we know it's important, but what are some things that people need to think about from a financial engineering, financial literacy perspective if they're considering starting a business?
Well, I mean, if you consider starting a business, obviously, there's a lot of things that are going to happen within that business to drive that business, whatever it is. However, again, you have to understand how to control those controllables in your business so you can be set yourself up financially and be financially secure, right? So that takes that planning piece, that takes that portion so you can understand that, again, it's unlike a regular W-2 employer, right, where you're paying taxes and all these things are happening as well. But however, now you have to do all those things for yourself and to see what advantages that you may have. What other advantages can you take advantage of by being a business owner, right? This government was built on the ability to be able to start business, right? This government was built on people being able to be business owners, right? So again, understanding how important that is and how beneficial it can really help you out in the long run. So being financially capable and understanding finance is important. Understanding your ability to be able to save and protect yourself for another day is important, right? And however, how are you going to make money? Right? How are you going to, what is the cost of doing business for you, right? So
All
yeah,
right. Yeah.
how you going to make money? Then when you make money, how are you going to make sure that you are adequately being uh, not frugal, but being responsible with that money, right? So again, understanding that not everyone can afford a Range Rover, right? Not everybody
Right.
can afford some of the things that because we have a spending problem, we got to make sure we're being responsible with it.
There's so much more to glean from you, brother. Definitely need to have another conversation specific to entrepreneurship, helping my listeners. My listeners are primarily educators, but a lot of these educators that listen in are also business owners. They have products and
Of course.
services
Oh yeah, yeah,
that they have. And so the one thing I do know about a lot of educators is they didn't go to school for business. They went to school for education.
yeah. Education, yeah,
We
that's
can
absolutely,
help them out. We can help them
absolutely,
out. Uh,
absolutely,
hey
absolutely.
man, is there anything that you want to make sure that you say while you have an opportunity to talk to some people internationally? Um, any final thoughts coming from you, brother Lomax?
Hey man, no, no, no. I mean, again, like I said, man, I am a champion for the people. Again, I love educating. I love doing business. I love being an entrepreneur. Is there anything, like I say, I'm available to have conversations in one-on-one consultations. Again, I am a servant, right? So I'm a servant of our people, right? Of our people, and I want to continue that. It may not, just like teaching, it may not be very profitable at times, but again, the passion is there, right? The passion is there. We want to make sure that again, people, we can grow. We have room to grow, and we need to make sure that we are setting ourselves on the right path.
That's dope, man. And where can people find you on? You on LinkedIn, and tell them your socials, man.
Man, well, yeah, yeah, I'm definitely on LinkedIn, Reginald Lomax, on LinkedIn. Obviously, I do have I don't use Facebook for professional activities. I do have an email, rlomax and associates at gmail.com. Rlomax and associates at RLOMAX and associates spelled out at gmail.com is my primary business email address.
And we'll make sure that all of that is in the show notes. All right. So people will
Fantastic.
have access to you. If it was your school, Reggie Lomax, and you built it, it's the Reginald Lomax University of Entrepreneurship, Business, and Finance. What is the motto?
What is the motto? Build for a better tomorrow.
Wow. Wow. build for a better tomorrow. Man, Reggie, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, bro. I appreciate it.
Adding on. Yeah, man, thanks for helping us build for a better tomorrow.
Yeah,
Hey,
appreciate
people, man, this has been great. You already know what it is. To everybody listening, thank you for tapping in. Dope people, tell somebody, bring them, share this content. Reginald Lomax, this will not be the last time we hear from you. Until next time, everybody, peace.
Peace.